So let's just jump into it, shall we? So, Hero of the Precinct One. This card was a role player in Standard for a little bit, even though it's fallen out now. Very capable of creating a gummy ground army to keep things gummed up against other creature decks, as well as provide a steady stream of pressure against combo or control decks. This build that we're playing today is kind of interesting. It's trying to play a 2-color Hero of the Precinct 1 deck, which we actually have a good number of cards that trigger, right? So we've got 13, 15, 21. We got 25 cards in our 2-color deck that trigger heroes. So Hero, Selfless Spirit, and Mausoleum Wanderer are our only cards here that don't trigger it, aside from lands, obviously. And then with Mausoleum Wanderer and Judge's Familiar, we have 2 different disruptive 1-drops here. And then we've also got Reflector Mage and Spell Queller and Deputy of Detention here as 3-drops that also disrupt the opponent. Ojutai's command also pretty flexible here, allows us to counter spells and pick back up things that cost 2 or less, so we can rebuy any of these 4 creatures down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and dive on into a match with this and see how it goes. Got it, Coma Cake. It's neat that they transformed red. Interesting that they transformed red's temporary draw from until end of turn till the end of your next turn. Really makes that part of the color pie a lot more powerful than it once was. Happy New Year, Jeff. Thanks for taking Modern out of the rotation. Rancid. What would the community have to do to get you to do Legacy once a week other than give you a hundo a pop? It really depends on, like, what... I don't know. It's like... It's just tough because, like, Pioneer is really popular right now, and just, like, the reality of it is any Moto content I'm doing that's not Pioneer is going to come at the cost of Pioneer content. And as long as the Pioneer content is interesting for me to make and popular, I don't think I'm going to fit in too much Legacy. I believe the Storm build, or the Storm deck that we played, is doing pretty well on YouTube, and it was fun when we played it, and we got that one back in the queue. Yeah, there was one Modern deck left in the queue, and after playing yesterday, I told that person they can either have a refund or replace it with something else. They need to let me know. So this is quite the turn 3. Have I mentioned that Land War Elves and Elvish Mystic are the best things to be doing in Pioneer, and it's not close as long as they are legal? Get to bring in a bunch of removal post board here. Give us a much better chance to cut these 1-drops that don't really accomplish a whole lot. Bring in Deputy of Detention. I'm going to trim a Spell Queller, maybe. Probably just Judge. We'll trim a Spell Queller. To bring in more detentions, a bunch of declarations in stone. You'll see if the Legacy Storm deck goes well again. I think I'm gonna try and find a physical copy and go play it at one of the Nerd Rage weekends. It's been a while since I felt like a deck really spoke to me as much as that one did. It was a good time. Yeah, it feels like the one scene. It almost feels like they're playing a different format. The Legacy Storm deck, Punchworthy, it was a total hoot. If I can find cards. If I can find cards isn't just a simple hat trick for Legacy, because, like, that stuff's really expensive. Like, finding someone to loan you a, you know, $8,000 Legacy deck is not trivial. That is correct, Dunegg. If you look on the desktop version of Twitch, when you click where the sub button is, it should tell you when your Prime's running out. I usually set a reminder on my Google Calendar, so that way I always remember to go use mine. Oh, that would be sick, Punchworthy. Yeah, like, mana base plus LEDs is the bulk of it, I believe. I guess Mox Opals. The new build plays Mox Opal too. Alright, am I holding up Spell Queller or am I Deputy of Detentioning? The problem with holding up Spell Queller is they currently have 6 Devotion and they have a Nykthos. I think I'm supposed to just Deputy of Detention and take this Yoro out of play. It technically cuts them off of mana too. Yep. Now I'm presented with the same question I was last turn. If it was right to kill their threat last turn, it's probably right to kill their threat this turn, right? Hey, Gannon, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Happy Thursday. My sense of time is all just completely thrown out of whack. Between this being the 6th day in a row that I'm live. And the holiday and stuff and the kids not being around. It's like all sense of time and space has been eradicated. It's a good draw. Little sad that the tokens won't be able to block Steel Leaf Champion, but you might be able to race this champion on the back of Hero plus Spell Queller plus Castle. Children are like natural clocks. yeah, the fact that the Deputy's a 1/3 is a good stat line against this Elfin Burning Emissary as well, for sure. Yeah, the mobile, especially if you leave my channel open, often doesn't refresh the stream title. Which is a big deal on my channel because I regularly update the stream title as we go. So they have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana here. If they have a Fighty Hydra, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. You know, I wonder if this deck that we're playing is supposed to play Supreme Verdict in the sideboard just because we play for Selfless Spirit. We could also realistically play Subtle Wreckage if we didn't want to be cheeky and play Supreme Verdict with Selfless Spirit. Maybe that's better than just having a bunch of Declaration in stones. Okay, they appear to be out of gas, huh? So I get to chump block this Burning Emissary with my human. We take 5 from the Steel Leaf Champion that's unblockable. Yeah, some number of Settle is probably appropriate. That's a great draw. They have 1 card left, and it's probably not a good one because they didn't cast it last turn. Sick. All right, sweet. That went well for us. The problem here is now we have to try and win on the draw against the Land War Elf deck, and we can't kill Land War Elves on our turn 1, so... you know what? I forgot to fill up my water bottle this morning. I was running around doing a few things and forgot. I'll have to run and do that real quick after the match. fair punch-worthy. I'm probably not going to play a thing anytime soon, so hopefully I'll have time to track something down once I do. I think this is a mulligan. Can I have the 7 back? I think if I ask really nicely, they'll give me the 7 back. feels magic, man. If I throw these back, I think that's the play. Turns out EDH is a great way to collect one of Legacy staples and no more. Yeah, I think splashing color and Pioneer actually comes at a really real cost. It's not trivial like it is in Modern. I think you're Pioneer. Let me double check here. This is probably fine. Yeah, that deck is fine, Red. So if you wanted to donate or cheer to bump it up, that would be fine. Alright, well, goodbye, friends. You are no longer clueless, opponent. Alright, so I think I'm just supposed to play this other hero out, so that way I can start making infinite tokens with the rest of these things. I'm watching this, and I'm thinking that the London Mulligan's at fault. I agree. For sure. Do they attack me for 5, or do they use the elf to crack a clue? Just stone cold nothing, eh? Okay, well, with that in mind, let's go ahead and Reflector Mage the 2/2, so I can attack them for 4. That's a 2/2 legendary that when it attacks, another creature gets a bonus equal to its attack till end of turn. Heroic Intervention. Yeah, sure. Go. It's hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Yep. The Echo deck, Chucky. Definitely the Echo deck. Would I rather Deputy or Teferi? I think I'd rather Deputy, right? Because it's a blocker. And then I think at this point we just want to get aggressive, so we're going to Deputy the Yorvo, and then we're going to smash with everything. Yeah, if they want to trade for a hero, we're okay with that. Alright, so not very competitive against their good draw, but when we both stumbled, our deck was definitely able to keep up. Hey, Rad, thanks for the absurd tip. And you want to see it up tomorrow? Can definitely make that happen. I can finally see the stream in 2020 vision. Good morning, Scooter. I'll be right back. I just gotta fill my water bottle really quick, just like 30 seconds. And then we'll play some more with this. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, E-Teach, if you wanna see the dumpster fire that was Modern yesterday morning, pull up the YouTube VOD. Or pull up the Twitch VOD. I mean, I didn't put it on YouTube. It was basically like a match and a half of me realizing that I had made a horrible life decision by choosing to play more Modern. Hey, Lifeguard, there were some good ones. Remember, if you're ever playing catch-up while I'm offline, there is a favorite deck or two, usually one from Magic Online and one from Arena, tagged each day up on my website under the videos tab. There's lots of great things to spend shillings on. If you save up a bunch of them, you can bump decks in the deck queue. If you save up a ton of them over the course of a year or more, you can become one of Hooglandia's shillionaires. The Storm video is really good, Chalky. Like, very, very good. But Jeff, if you don't personally enjoy every format of Magic, you must hate Magic. Yeah, something like that. I just said I liked Legacy Punchworthy. Come on now. It's the second most expensive of formats. Clearly you just need to buy more Lion's Eye Diamonds. Come on now. Obviously talking about EDH, yep. Yeah, EDH is not my cup of tea. The closest thing I play to EDH is Dice Throne. Don't Reckless Rage me. Don't Reckless Rage me. Sick. Deal. In. I appreciate you. Didn't Reckless Rage me. That's not the spell I wanted for Christmas. Hey, Milbot. Thanks for 16 months. Welcome back. Send that one back from whence it came. It's a real shame Ojutai's command can't recover Reflector Mage. That would be disgusting. It would be very, very good. Reflector Mage also curves really nicely into Ojutai's command, because you get to, like, Reflector Mage their creature back to their hand, and they can't play it, and then, like, you play your fourth land and get to Ojutai's command their creature on the way back down. That's read. Alright, so with this hero in my hand, would I rather pick this hero back up out of the bin with this Ojutai's command when I counter their creature? Or would I rather just draw a card? I feel like because I don't have any other multicolored spells in my hand, I'm supposed to just draw a card with this. This has 4 modes. Can counter a creature spell, draw a card, gain 4 life, or return a creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from my graveyard to play. Okay, it's a pretty sweet 1-2 here. This lets us take the plus counter off of the Swift Spear, which is great for us. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Put this towards green-red Stompy Pioneer. Will do, Milbot. Thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. Hold on, folks. I'm going to do it again. Tempo. The Reckless Rage bit that I sing is a parody of the song Chocolate Rain. So, like, Draven, I think your question shows a mindset problem. You're asking me, do I think they could save Modern? When I think the appropriate question you're supposed to be asking is, does Modern need to be saved? I'm not sure that I or Wizards or anybody else is currently of the opinion that, like, Modern needs saving. Like, what needs to be saved in Modern? Like, why? Like, just because I don't enjoy Modern and maybe you don't enjoy Modern doesn't mean there aren't a lot of people out there that enjoy Modern. So, like, we don't need to take away what people enjoy just because we personally don't like it. Like, there's nothing wrong with what Modern currently is. Like, live and let live. I think this is probably not a Spell Queller matchup with their efficient removal. Maybe I do or don't want Veto. Maybe this many Teferis is too many. I think Deputy's fine to have in, even though they can kill it because, how very adult and reasonable and un-American of you, Jeff. People who like different things that we like are evil. It's funny because it's sad. Yeah, I think that's it. That's fine. That was a big thing that, like, when I was definitely had a lot of bitterness towards Modern, that was something I didn't realize. Like, I think that's something that, like live and let live is something we need more of in life in general, and definitely with regards to Magic. It's really no different than, like, Limited for me, right? Like, I have zero interest in Limited, don't find it enjoyable in the slightest, but, like, other people do, and that's great. Again, Magic is a great game because it's not just one game. Magic is a rules engine that powers lots of different games. Thank you for the 10 months of support, my mom is cool. I find it funny that I have subs here that are both my mom is cool and it's me, your dad. Those are Twitch names. That's the worst part about, like, 2018, 2019, 2020 is, like, in the era, like, when Netflix was first created, it was, like, really great that, like, everything was available on a streaming service finally. And, like, they've all slowly been getting fractured out in the recent months, right? This feels like it's their only threat. I'm going to be really sad when they untap and play Feather here, but I feel like they played both of these really aggressively and might not have another threat. I feel like you don't gird for battle just your Swift Spear there if you have another creature. It's because Cable is dying. I don't know that it's worse than Cable. I feel like people saying it's worse than Cable didn't actually realize how bad Cable had gotten. Well, if they find a creature, we're probably in a lot of trouble. Rip. Rip! Do-do-do, do-do-do, beep-a-doo, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. So this can put an attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. Don't God's willing me, bro. We are pretty dead here. Just not enough resources to beat that. Maybe I do want some vetoes. Nah, Teferi. Actually, maybe I want my extra Teferi is what I want. Because Teferi makes their tricks. Teferi's just like, your tricks are for kids, get out of here. Yeah, he cuts off their timing. He cuts off Dreadhorde Arcanist too, right? This is probably too slow overall. Let's trim one of those. There's a... Oh, did I bookmark it? I feel like I bookmarked it. Did I not bookmark it? There was some website, someone in chat probably knows what it was. There was a website that lets you just search generically across all the streaming services, and you can like toggle which streaming services you have to search just the ones that you pay for like different shows and stuff. I'm waiting for the day where we'll have aggregate streaming services that sell you packages. Disney Plus actually did that, is doing that already. Disney Plus is selling itself in packages with other services. Yeah, that's a metric that I often share with people. Like, the best metric to figure out, like, should you sub to someone on Twitch is, like, if you pay for Netflix and you watch someone on Twitch more than you watch Netflix, you should probably sub to that person. Or if you watch someone on Twitch half as much as you watch Netflix, a Twitch sub is half as much as a Netflix subscription. Or maybe even a third as much. Is Netflix up to, like, $15 a month now? I feel like Netflix might be, like, $15 a month now. I do still prefer bits or direct donations to gift sub, Scooter. But at the end of the day, whatever floats your boat. I'd like to counter that God's Willing and send your dark back to your hand. This is why I did this post-combat, so I can attack with both my spirits. Yep. Huh? I think I'd like to just Selfless Spirit here. I'm going to wait to Teferi until they replay their card that gets 1/1 counters. Yeah, Twitch Prime's great. I think it's the best mid-range deck. And what will that be after Ramp gets a ban? The best mid-range deck is definitely the Delirium decks have been putting up results. That's a sweet one. They're down to 7 already. So they have Feather, they have Favored Hoplite, and they have 2 cards we don't know now. Disney Plus had done some kind of deal up front where, like, if you paid for 3 years in advance, they gave you like $3 a month, or for like $3 a month. Swift Justice, that's real good. Okay, well, we know what all their cards are now, so they're going to gain a little bit of life here and get that back, but I do get to deck in stone. Deck the halls with balls of feather, fa la 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 la. No, I don't really care about Teferi. The odds of, like, actually killing Teferi are low as well. Oh, tapped castle. So can't play Selfless Spirit this turn, but it's fine. They have their lifelink card as the last card in their hand, so racing's not super trivial here, but with our flying threats, we should be pretty far ahead. So they get to lifelink this 10th District Legionnaire and Scry. And they hit us for 4, 5, 6, 7 down to, and they're going to gain 4 up to 9. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they ever, there's a website ever gets like seamless sports streaming. I know like there are some services that offer sports streaming, but from like talking to my buddy Matt who watches sports on the regular, he says they're not particularly consistent or good. I think if someone, if that ever finally gets like really sorted out, I feel like the days of what's it called are very numbered. I think I'd rather play Hero than Selfless Spirit here. I'm going to hold up Azorius Charm here so I don't accidentally die in combat, ideally. It might also be right to just play the other Selfless Spirit out, because I could go block, sack Selfless Spirit. This also, yeah, this also gives lifelink too, so like the hidden mode on this is just like, get a big swing in for ourselves. Alright. Good clean 2-0 start here. Yeah, I am lucky in my desired content that I have no interest in sports. Well, you know. Apparently, the amount of pushed this card is in large part, oh yeah, thought sees me, daddy. Gaze upon my glory. Apparently a big part of this card being as pushed as it is was actually a last-minute design change for Limited. Apparently this card in their design file for most of it was a 2-1, and they felt like blue-white needed a better blocker in Limited, so they kicked it up to a 2-3. Rockther, thanks for the 5 months. Almost to the training sword indeed. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. So long, Ojutai's command. Hardly knew ya. That's not the threat I wanted for Christmas. Delirium? Yeah, looks like Delirium. They took Tireless Tracker here. Have another Fabled Passage. Just a Forest, sure. Send that one back from whence it came. They have instant sorcery land in their bin, so they're slightly off of Ishkana being useful. No land is good for us. Go. Oh. Oh, Moto. Auto tapper when? That's rude. That's rude. It's rather revolting, opponent, don't you think? Do you think that's rather revolting? Walking Ballista, yep. Gosh, what? Walking Ballista is killing my Selfless Spirit. What year is it? Dead man walking, chat. Dead man walking. Your days are numbered, Mr. Ballista. Your days are numbered. Ojutai's Command's a great pickup here. To counter their Courser here, or Tracker and draw a card. If they drew a land, I assume they'll play Tracker. If they didn't draw a land, they'll play Courser. Cast Cryptic Command. Actual factual Cryptic Command. Do you think he gets the sack on the 6th? Or he either gets sacked on the 6th or he gets sacked at the same time they release Theros, one of the two. I'd be very surprised if they leave this new Ballista combo legal while when they banned the Saheeli Feldar Guardian. Oh, our deck's real bad against Walking Ballista. I think we just take our curve and pull up here. I think I just cut all my things that die to Ballista. Is that cutting too many spells? Cutting too many creatures, I mean? Maybe. So I have 16 creatures, but I have Gideon too. Yeah, Ballista's always been a pretty pushed card. For sure. Man, Saffron Olive is just really, really vehemently against saying that, like, bad Magic designs are bad Magic designs. He's determined that, like, the London Mulligan's the actual problem. It's not that Tron's a problem or that one-mana accelerants are a problem. It's that damn London Mulligan. Yeah, I'd just stop tweeting at him, AGH. That's a losing battle. You're not gonna change hearts or minds there. He's yelled at the cloud and made up his mind a long time ago. I didn't respond. He was going back and forth with, I believe, is AGH there in chat. I don't understand the argument that basically the argument that he's trying to make is gameplay patterns that suck are okay so long as they happen more infrequently than they currently happen with the London Mulligan. Which, I guess that's a take. Like, that's a real take you're allowed to have. But, like, I think it's a crap take. I think if the issue, either the gameplay pattern is okay or it's not. Someone else had made the really good point that the London Mulligan versus non-London Mulligan is a lot like ban list versus restricted list, which is like, what's the goal? Is the goal that this thing is supposed to never happen, or is the goal that this thing is only supposed to happen sometimes? And it really feels like there's a reason why we don't use restricted lists in most places. There's a reason why most of Magic uses ban lists. I mean, like, people are just super resistant to change is what it comes down to. The average human being hates change. It's just like the reality of the situation. Just bandless. Something like that. You got him. He's grasped. Gosh, maybe I do want my Rest in Peace here. A lot of their deck is pretty embarrassing cards without, Delirium on, huh? Yeah, Lay the Land Resolves. I think my plan here is like cantrip this, cast second one, cantrip it. Maybe I boarded out too many copies of my proactive threats. Could be a real conclusion here. Hero of the Precinct One. You love to see it. Just gonna pass here with Veto. Veto / command up. Yeah, that's true, Aaron. Definitely. Remember grinding and like the question would come up like, where are we going for dinner? And you know, people would be like, well, I can't spend $8 on dinner. And it's like, well, if you can't spend $8 on dinner, maybe you should reassess if you should be spending $50 playing in this Magic tournament or $100 or whatever absurd amount it costs. Or like, people would have like fully foil legacy decks, but wanted to quibble over what the price of their hotel was for the weekend. It's like, well, what if we sold one of them black bordered duels? Then would this be a problem? I don't know. I know when, like, I was grinding a bunch of Magic, I was in a very different spot than a lot of Magic grinders, because, like, when I was grinding Magic, I, like, had a full-time job to, like, support my hobby. And, like, there were a lot of people that were grinders who, like, were, like, trying to, like, scrape by and make all of their money off of, like, grinding the SCG tour. Like, which is probably a pretty miserable thing to be doing. Hey, thanks for the 12 months of support, Dude Face Petro. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Get you a sword to go with that shield. The Rest in Peace seemed like it was real good there, huh? Maybe I don't want Deputy of Detention. This Rest in Peace doesn't seem unreasonable. Maybe I want these Selfless Spirits. Maybe I don't want this many Azorius Charms. Is this too many cards that don't trigger Hero? This might be too many cards that don't trigger Hero. I have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I just want 2 rips. Hey, morning, Risu. We're going to be here all day. Match 3 of our first Pioneer League. Hope you feel better. This is a good example of why, even though this hand's not particularly good, we just snap it off. Dear opponent, please don't Liliana me. Liliana's another reason to, like, not have a card like that in my deck. Goodbye, friend. Like, they knew that was coming, right? Morning, Ninja. I get to Spell Queller this Courser on the way back down. Then hopefully hold up Veto to protect our squad. They know I have this card too, right? Like, they thought seized me and took the Ojutai command. So if they have land decay here, they get their Courser. Grasp, sure. Trophy's pretty good. Lets them answer my castle, which could potentially grind out some value for us. Super. Thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub. I appreciate the 17 months with that as well. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You have a 2-1. Why did they board that in? Oh, I guess I had Rest in Peace last game, and they want a tutor. Toss a coin to your streamer. Toss some prime to your streamer. Easy trades. Does Patrick Chapin still play Magic? I feel like that would be my question to something Patrick Chapin predicted. Oh, Valley of Bezos, yep. I feel like we're actually in a pretty good spot here, huh? We got a Fatal Push here, is that where we're cracking this fetch? So the hand right now is Trophy and then one card I don't know. So I'm going to get to Veto this Trophy on my Gideon and then we'll be in a pretty good spot. Why is this deck running 4 main board Azorius Charm? Because Azorius Charm is a pseudo removal spell that triggers Hero of the Precinct One. So the card that our deck is named after here cares about playing multicolored cards. So there really isn't a better one. I'll be right back. I need to run to the restroom really quick. Well, somehow we're 3-0 with this one. No, it was a dumpster fire punch worthy. This format has too many like linear decks in it for that deck to be very good. Too many Lotus Fields and ramp decks and stuff like that. This format's less brutal than Modern, but like less brutal than Modern is a very low bar. Yes, this is basically an aggro deck. We're playing like 1 mana 1/1s here. I don't have a link offhand, but I actually just had Super bumped the one that's in the queue, so we're actually going to play it tomorrow morning with their tier 3. So you'll get to see it on stream tomorrow. I don't even know if that deck's very good, but it's definitely like the definition of linear. Wow, second feather deck this league. You know, turn 1 blue's a little sad here. That's a really weird use of God's Willing. It's like looking to stack up counters on this right away. Reflector Mage is a great draw. I think I'm going to lead on Mausoleum Wanderer here. So this way I have a pseudo counterspell in play for when I Reflector Mage next turn. So this way if they like spend some mana and only leave 1 up for God's Willing, I can Reflector Mage this back still. The problem with the green ramp deck is like Stone Rain's not even good against a deck like that. It's a lot like the red-green the green ramp deck in Pioneer is much closer to red-green Valakut than it is to Tron. So like while destroying individual lands against Tron can generally have some meaningful impact, destroying random lands against Valakut generally isn't very good, and the reason why it's not good enough is in large part due to the fact that they just have so much mana. Like, look at the green ramp deck and count how many cards it has that just, like, are lands or find lands. It's most of their deck is the answer. I assume they have another God's Willing here since they played this first one so aggressively. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me. So, like, even if you had, like, 8 Stone Rains, like, you have way fewer Stone Rains than they have ways to find... their way out of it. I think I'm just cashing in this Reflector Mage as a gain 5. Sin, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. That's terrifying. Oh, I assume we're dead from here. I guess I can Spell Queller or something. Mutavault looking really awkward because I can't Azorius Charm and Dovin's Veto in the same turn. We could have a thirds God's willing here, perhaps. Reckless Rage. Sure. Cats or dogs? We only ever had dogs growing up. I don't have any pets right now. Children? Can I pick children? Children are a lot like animals. We can't beat Reckless Rage, right? They're literally a Dovin's Veto in my hand, Twitch chat. There's literally an answer to... And I have a Spell Queller? Yeah, definitely can't beat Reckless Rage. Big agree. Can't beat Reckless Rage. Oh, Twitch chat. Never change. Or maybe change. Maybe change. Oh. Yeah, look at that. Got a Reflector Mage here too. Sign me up. Like, I definitely think we're behind, but can't beat Reckless Rage is a gross misrepresentation of the issues that we have at the moment. It's a great draw, too. Ojutai's command's actually been really impressive. I could maybe see playing a third, especially with Reflector Mage. The sequencing with Ojutai's command and Reflector Mage has been quite good. I mean, to be fair, the K9 decks in Mythgard are real bad. Maybe if they get another card or two out of their second set. Defiant Strike Me Daddy. Expedite, sure. Taking 3 down to 5. Mausoleum Wanderer is not a bad draw. Lets me hold up Ojutai's commands here still to counter this this feather that we know they have. And then I think from here, I'm not drawing a card. I'm returning Mausoleum Wanderer to play. that the line? They have one card left, or am I drawing a card? What's better? I guess I wouldn't mind finding another Reflector Mage to bounce this. Like, what's better? Is a random card better than Mausoleum Wanderer on this board state? Is the question I have to ask myself. The fact that Mausoleum Wanderer makes this a 2/2, so I have 4 power worth of blockers here, seems really appealing. I feel like the Wanderer might be better than a random card. I think it's close. The mystery card could be anything, even a boat. Treasure Cruise is legal in this format. It's very true. Okay, sweet. So the last card is nothing. Now I just get to start racing them. Hey, JD Square. Thank you for the generous tier 2 and for the second month of that. Welcome back. Sure to take a peek at the deck queue. Let me know something there you'd like to bump up to see a bit sooner. I appreciate the support. Grab a card at the bottom. Yep. Yep. At least Selfless Spirit is fog here. Need to go block, sack Selfless Spirit. Oh, that's really good. This deck actually seems really sweet. It's like blue-white stuff. I don't know if the Hero of the Precinct One part of this deck is good, but the rest of it seems super reasonable. You play Brazen Borrower? Yeah, Brazen Borrower could be good. Azorius Charm's just been kind of okay. Ojutai's command's been really good. So their last card is the card that we bounced with Teferi, so they have a 2/2. So he could be dead to another Boros Charm. That was the downside to Shocking, because I left ourselves dead to Boros Charm. But they don't have good attacks here, so we got that going for us. So if we fade Boros Charm off the top, they should be pretty dead. why not both? Long live Dale. Gosh, it's really a shame we couldn't beat Reckless Rage that game. It was really just unfortunate that we couldn't beat the Reckless Rage that game. All right, what are we doing here? These are cards. I think I want Deputies and Deccan Stones. Twitch chat's an advantage. Yeah, something like that. Veto's probably slow. Is Spell Queller good enough? I guess it's pretty good as an invasive threat, huh? Is it crazy talk to just trim Hero? I wonder if that's crazy talk. I feel like it might be crazy talk. Having a good play on 2 is nice. I don't really have anything else I definitely want to cut, though. Maybe Mausoleum Wanderer is not quite good enough. So it was okay there at closing, but Hero would have also been good. If I cut these, I have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 25 things that triggers it. Let's try this. Schwingy, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We played a Bant deck earlier in the format that had Flip Avacyn in it. It was back when Oko was still legal, though, if I recall correctly. There's been various blue-white, like, flying decks that have played Avacyn. We haven't played them, but we've played against them a number of times. How you doing, Taylor? Deck the halls with balls of swift sphere. Fa la 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 la. Do 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 do. Be do 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 do. Do 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 do. Deccan Stone. Deccan Stone's a great removal spell. Call. Deal. One less Defiant Strike for when you have a feather. Okay, quell down over there, shall we? Favorite cereal, classic life cereal. Alright. Do the gods will the feather to return or not? The gods are not happy, chat. Not pleased with our idea. Okay, so need a 3 free. Candy bar, Reese's peanut butter cups. Biscuit? What country do you think I'm from? Did they board out my vetoes? I might have boarded out my vetoes. Yeah, maybe cutting these vetoes is wrong. Just of how good they are with feather. Yikes. If I draw a blue or white source that's untapped, I can double charm this to get through the God's Willing. If they have a second God's Willing, we'll pack it in and go to the next one here. If they don't have God's Willing here, even though this is just going back on top of their deck, that means if they replay it next turn, we'll get to deck and stone it and not feel bad about it. Sweet. Alright, so they're just getting like a free scry here, but they're going to lose their God's Willing because Feather requires the spell to resolve. So the Feather adds text to the spell. So because I've removed the target of their God's Willing, this gets countered instead of resolving, so it goes to their discard pile. Hey, Happy New Year, Yorby. Alright, so they're going to 9 here. Go. Let's take a Titan Strike back to their hand. I guess there's a world where they kill us here. They have like double Titan Strength. And they have like 4 1-mana pump spells in their hand. Yes, people on Magic Online play incredibly slowly. I mean, to be fair, people on Magic Arena also play incredibly slowly. People who aren't me tend to play Magic not quickly. That's unfortunate. Maybe I should have left. Yeah, even if I leave something back, they have Rile to give a trample, right? Like, if you watched the arena segments yesterday, I think there were multiple points where our opponent was down 8 to 10 minutes on clock compared to what we were at. Let's try this. Magic's on a particularly fast game. Yeah, we had like 19 minutes to 6 at one point. And a big part of the problem with why people play so slowly is because it's Wizards' fault. Wizards gives players more time than they need to actually complete their matches, which causes a lot of people to do other things while they're playing Magic Online or Magic Arena. So a lot of the time where people are like, and this is really apparent when you see people taking game actions at the very start, you'll see people like take 30 seconds to play their first land and pass the turn and stuff like that. Just like things that very clearly make it obvious that like they're not entirely engaged in what they're doing. They're like doing it and something else. Right? They're not playing slowly because they have things to consider. They're playing slowly because they're multitasking. Like, I have sympathy for people who are, like, newer to Magic or, like, trying to figure things out and fumbling around a little bit. Zero sympathy for the people that are taking forever because they're obviously multitasking. Yeah, I mean that's also different too, though, in my opinion, hyped to death. Like what you're describing there is you had to take a break while you were playing. I'm talking about people who are like every action they take is like has some time in between it. You feed my addiction to Pioneer and make me spend money on bad cards. This makes me angry. Take my money. Thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate it. Welcome back. You ever played against someone who really deserves slow play warning in paper? Yeah. That's what I call a judge and ask them to watch for slow play. I think if players were more aggressive about calling judges on slow play, it'd be less of an issue. I think I'm probably just like cycling this Azorius Charm here. See what we get. Huh? Do I just like eat their clue? Well, that's against the rules in Magic. You don't get to take a particular amount of time in between game actions in Magic. That was actually one of the issues I had with Pokemon TCG's rule set. Is their slow play rules where players got to take particular quantities of time in between each game action. Morning, Paula. In Magic, they explicitly don't define slow play that way to avoid things like that from happening. And we know, like, they're currently playing Hearthstone, so we know this just works for us, which is great. Is upticking better? I don't know, maybe. I wanted the draw card. Big fan of drawing magic cards. Feel like we found our way into a pretty good spot here. With the Selfless Spirit especially. Going to a Team Modern tournament this weekend. Last time we went to one, an opponent got pissy at us for discussing our mulligans as a team. We have the right to... You actually don't have the right to not rush through decisions like that. Taking a bunch of time with every mulligan decision you do is, like, explicitly not okay. The timing rules at a team event are not any different than the timing rules at a non-team event. You are expected to play your games of Magic at an appropriate pace. And having 2 players pause their decisions for all of their mulligans is really explicitly not okay. Team events, more so than most others, you need to poke people to play at an appropriate pace. There are a lot of unintentional draws at team tournaments because of stuff exactly like what you described, which is not okay. Yes, you are still expected to play at a reasonable pace, and if 2 players are pausing on their mulligan decision to help you, and then vice versa back with them, that's not playing at a reasonable pace. I mean, if I understand what you're describing is not reasonable, Cinnamar. There is not a reasonable pace that exists for all of you to sit there and coordinate on every mulligan decision. Well, that must have been a misclick, right? This seems like a weird card to board in against us. Because we have the flying threats. Okay, I think I'm supposed to just get rid of this so I can kill Gideon here. You played around with kicker effects and fire damage. I've not, but someone in the subs Discord yesterday had actually, they had actually posted a list that had, fight with fire inside a, Fires of Invention shell, and that seemed really sweet. Alright, let's deck that one. And then, so here's actually a question. Do I exile their Legionnaire? I guess the Legionnaire puts them on a 2-turn clock, right? So I just do that and hope they brick. Yeah, that's the line. I'd say I could be cheeky and take their clue away, but doing this lets me kill them in 2 if they brick twice, so let's just try and hope they brick twice. Hey, little McNugget, thank you for the 12 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. If they find a Deccan Stone of their own, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Soul of Dragonite, thanks for the tip. Little bump from Mardu Knight, sounds good. I appreciate it. Scale of 1 to dead, what are we working with here? It's subscription, listed, total, or cumulative. It depends on what the checkmark is. So 12 months is the total. Sometimes it also lists cumulative. You have an option to check it off to send it. Yeah, that's explicitly not okay, Mitsu. We undefeated? I think we're undefeated. Look at that. 4-0 by mistake. Four sets of games that went to 3. Yeah, the Reflector Mage, Spell Queller, Teferi, Julian Castro dropped out. Good, finally. Goodbye. Everyone who's not Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Andrew Yang should be gone. Just please drop all of them. Anyone who's not one of those 5 people who's still running for president at this point is not running for president because they want to make the country better. They're running for president because they're trying to make a name for themselves in other races, which means they're being a distraction in an incredibly important race and an incredibly important time in history. And the people who are still running should be embarrassed. I don't even like Mayor Pete or Biden, but like they should be up there based on the numbers. Like from a pure numbers perspective, they deserve to be there. Those are like the 5 at this point. Everybody else had a chance. They didn't make any headway. They need the GTFO and let the people who are adults sort things out. On the draw against turn 1 Elvish Mistake. Things don't look good for our hero chat. One of the 30 people that's still running for the Democratic nomination. Are we dead? I feel like we're dead. I'm not going to show them more cards. Oh, Elvish Mystic. All right. I'd like some deputies. I'd like some Deccan Stones. I would like to cut all of these against a creature deck. I would like to cut Veto against a creature deck. I'd like to board in Gideon. Well, at least the sideboard plan is clean. We have a plan. I don't know if it's a good plan, but we have a plan. It has nothing to do with their policies, Ian. It has nothing to do with what their background is. It has nothing to do with them being a person of color. Like, the cold, hard reality is Castro was someone whose policies I also liked, but he shouldn't have been there. Just like all of these people had a chance to make a name for themselves, and Buttigieg and Yang are the only 2 people that were unknowns that showed up and made a name for themselves. And like, I don't even like Buttigieg, but again, based on the numbers, he should still be there. People like Castro and Klobuchar and all these other people that are polling in a dumpster fire with nothing relevant, those people need to leave. They're just distractions. They had at the beginning of the race, I think everyone was fair game. Here we are months later, everybody else that didn't gain traction needs to get out of the way. They've lost and they're just a distraction at this point. Whether or not I like their policies or not is irrelevant. It's just a pure numbers thing at this point. Klobuchar polls higher than Yang. I think it depends on where you look. Yang this cycle is a lot like Sanders' last cycle in that he's been mistreated by a lot of the media that exists out there. what are we doing here? I think it's just like Time Raveler, bounce this token. How's this set going so far? We're undefeated, but I'd be surprised if we beat this opponent. We got pretty fortunate to beat the last Elvish Mystic deck that we played. Yeah, it's feeling like a 4-1. Again, the record doesn't really matter. Like, I don't care about the specific records of decks. Watching you more than Netflix. Thanks for the 7 months, Sufa. I appreciate the support. Thanks for keeping me around. If I play Gideon, make a token, and they have a stomp, they kill my Gideon. But I feel like Gideon getting going is my only chance to be in this game. So I think I just play Gideon and hope they don't have another removal spell here. Removal spell or Red Source Ember Cleave, both kind of end us. From a theological perspective, I think I prefer, and not even think, from a theological perspective, I think, from a theological perspective, I definitely prefer a lot of Bernie and Warren's policies to some of Yang's policies on a per policy basis. But from a reality perspective, I feel like Yang has approached a lot of the problems from a this is something we can actually do perspective. The tough part about Warren and Bernie, while I think our country would be better off if all of their things that they're recommending just happened, I think they're going to meet resistance not only from Republicans in the House and in the Senate, but they're going to meet resistance from corporate Democrats in both of those houses of Congress. And UBI is in. UBI has more support among Republicans than a lot of those other Democratic policies ever will. And I think UBI isn't an appropriate replacement for things like Medicare for All. We need fundamental healthcare reform, but I do think UBI is a good band-aid while the rest of those things slowly get sorted out. I think from a realism perspective, I think this speaks volumes to how much resistance Medicare for All is going to get. And when we talk about the reality of it, I think UBI has more chance of happening than Sanders' Medicare for All bill as written does. If you ask me which of those two I think was more likely to actually pass, I would tell you that UBI is more likely to actually pass, in my opinion. And again, that's subjective, but from my understanding of the politics and who supports what, I would tell you that would be the horse I would bet on of the two of those. And don't get me wrong, again, that's not me saying that Medicare for All is bad. I would love it if Bernie's bill as Medicare for All was passed, but the reality of the situation in which we live, I think Yang's freedom dividend, universal basic income is more likely. Only an American talks about UBI as a band-aid as opposed to universal healthcare. But again, my fist, see, that's where I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have UBI and then you stop working towards Medicare for All. I'm saying that UBI seems like it's more likely to happen, which gives a lot of people breathing room while the complexities of getting Medicare for All eventually passed can happen. I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly what the fundamental basis of Warren's pivot is. I know Warren pivoted away from Medicare for All, but I don't know exactly the details of it. So, Gabo the Green, that's FUD. If you look at Yang's UBI plan, everybody who is currently receiving benefits gets to keep those benefits if they're better than what UBI would. And that's FUD too, Bruce Thrills. The idea that if UBI happens, everything just goes up accordingly is nonsense bullshit Republican talking point. It's the same nonsense bullshit you hear when people talk about raising the minimum wage. Oh, can't raise the minimum wage because all the prices just go up. And you can't actually give poor people more money. They deserve to be in poverty because that's how this works. That's not how it works. You don't put more spending power in people's hands and then everything goes up proportionally. That's divorced completely from reality. That's just not how it works. Who pays for you back? Go look at Yang's thing. He's got all the details are laid out. Again, every time you try and say minimum wage or things like UBI, giving people at the bottom more money is going to not make their lives better. That's nonsense. That's propaganda that people who are worth billions of dollars spend millions of dollars spewing so people like you will repeat it. Just, again, like if you think giving people more minimum wage or giving people UBI means that FUD, F-U-D, stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. All right, anywho, this deck, I don't know that the Hero of the Precinct One was actually good in this deck. Fuck off. I just want people to know, just so, I don't care if you give me money. What is never welcome in my chat is, Jeff, stop talking what you're talking about and focus on this other thing. I'm not a monkey. I'm not gonna shut up and dribble. Like, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours, and if I spend 5 to 10 minutes out of 2 hours talking about things that are important to me that aren't Magic related, that's fine. And you know what? Nobody ever complains when I talk about my kids, or we talk about food, or we talk about other things. It's always people that get their panties in a twist because we're talking about making the country and the world that I live in a better place. If hearing people talk about politics makes you uncomfortable, good. There are a lot of people in this country that are really uncomfortable because they're going bankrupt and they're losing everything that they own, or they're literally dying because of the state that our country is in because a bunch of people elected the current orange bigot we have in the White House. So the complete and entire focus of this stream is never going to be all politics all the time. But if I want to talk about it once a day or twice a day for 10 minutes in a 2-hour segment, that's what I'm going to do, because this is the Jeff Hoagland Show. And if you don't like it, change the channel. It's really okay. Don't come into my space and tell me that you know what's best for me and I need to do what you want to do, though. Thanks for the bits, Jack Frost. Anywho, on this deck, the blue-white design mistakes, blue-white cards that could probably have been banned at some point or were banned at some point, blue-white design mistakes felt good. Honestly, the big card... This is the Jeff Hoagland Show. Can we get that on a t-shirt? Maybe we could. Maybe we could. Thanks, Oratog. The card that really stood out to me in this deck was Ojutai's Command. And this is not a card I've seen a lot of people playing, but the play pattern of play Reflector Mage, bounce your 2 or 3 drop creature. You can't play it for a turn, and then we get to play our 4th land and hold Ojutai's command up to counterspell it, draw a card on the way back down, was like really good a number of times. Spell Queller alongside Teferi Time Raveler was also very good at a lot of points. For those not familiar, the way Spell Queller's second trigger interacts with Teferi Time Raveler static text, you don't get to recast the spell that's underneath Spell Queller, so these have good synergy. The general spirits plan felt pretty good. Mausoleum Wanderer with Selfless Spirit attacking and being a little bit of disruption was fine. Azorius Charm actually felt like a playable Magic card at a number of points in that league. I think 4's definitely too many, and if we're not leaning on Hero of the Precinct One, I feel like 4 Charm is probably too many, but like, as we often say, like, Pioneer, even though we're a couple months in, is still really developing as a format, especially because, like, every time a deck pops up as the best deck, its legs kind of get kicked out from under it. So I think this could be, yeah, Charming Prince could maybe be okay. That's really good with Reflector Mage. It's possible you want to, like, go up to 24 lands. Like, you could play, like, more commands and Avacyn and stuff like that at the top end, too. So, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, my big takeaway is both of these are good. My second takeaway is Reflector Mage plus Command was really good. Yeah, Brazen Bar would be an excellent card. Excellent card. Nice, Justin. Yeah, if you wanted to donate for just a blue-white good cards deck that you wanted me to build, I'd be fine getting that added to the queue. Yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about deck specs on this stream. All right, what do we got next? Up next, speaking of Jeskai control, Justin, we've got a blue-white control deck that's splashing Chandra, Awakened Inferno, and some Bone Crusher Giants as extra ways to close the game out. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for this one. We'll be back in just a few minutes with this guy here. Thanks for hanging out today, folks.